Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. This video will focus on us placing the 4 steels on top of the bungalow. There's one at the front and one at the back that will be supporting the main walls, and then there's 2 in the middle that will be supporting the joists in between where the stairs are going to go and supporting the joists from front to back. We had a bit of an issue with the crane, it wasn't big enough, so as you can hear that's the RCI telling us we can't move it any further back. So we had to set it down and come up with a plan. We decided that we was going to give it a go and try and manoeuvre it to the back ourselves. So it was important to make sure we placed it on the back side of the bungalow walls, not the front. Obviously if it'd been behind the other steels, there's no way we could have manoeuvred it. So what we decided to do is place it down onto the 9x2 timber sole plates that I had up there. And then we cut some 6mm bar, and we basically bit by bit rolled it across the timber wall plate to the back wall, and then we levered it up with pry bars to get it onto the spreader plates. Unfortunately the camera overheated at this point, so I was unable to capture any footage of us placing the 2 middle steels down or the one at the back. So guys, the steels are now in, you can see them there, they're all set on their spreader plates. So you can see they're on the spreader plates with the packers underneath, which have all been levelled with the laser level to make sure they're all set. So all 3 steels at all 6 points are accurate within a couple of millimetres. So you can see the timbers there, they're the 9x2 wall plate timbers. So we sat them on them brick walls on either side and made sure that we got the steel in front of that steel there. So we placed all the other steels into position, and then we made sure that we put the rear steel just after that steel there, and we dropped it onto some 6mm bar and rolled it from that middle point all the way to the end here, and then with some pry bars levered it up onto the 2 spreader plates. So you can see there we've got a flange that's been welded onto the top, so that's to give us a little bit of overhang, because what we need to do is support the wall above, and because I will be putting insulation on the back of the wall, on the bungalow wall originally, we needed the overhang to bring the wall forward. So once all the steels are on the spreader plates, what we then did is use the rear steel as our datum point. Because we know the rear walls are all out and they're all wonky and pissed, we knew that we could get the rear steel in a particular place that looked level to the eye, and then we squared off from that steel to set the distances to this second steel here, and then use the second steel to set the distances to the third steel. So we know that although the bungalow's wonky and not plumber square, we know that the steels and the floor joists that will be going into the steels will all be square within itself. So what you've got to imagine is there will be a square first floor made out of timber sat on a wonky bungalow. So we now know that the distances are even between these 3 steels, so we can cut exactly the same joist lengths 100%, and we know everything will be nice and level and even. So now we have the steels in, it's time for a quick update. I've blocked up this window because we want to make this window slightly smaller so we can fit a desk behind it. I'm not a bricklayer, so I didn't bother filming this because it's shocking. People would be absolutely appalled by my skills and I'd get slated in the comments, so I didn't film it. But I've gone for some medium density blocks, and I've laid them flat because we've got solid block walls anyway, and the building inspector said that it's irrelevant as long as we bring it up to standard and insulate the outside, then it doesn't matter too much, and it's not structural because you've got a lintel that's going over the top of the windows. So the building inspector's got no problem with me laying them flat, which made my life a lot easier. You can see the new foundations being poured there for the front wall. Annoyingly, at the time we didn't know that we was going to need to put a 4th steel on the front. That left wall there, when I stood on it, you could feel the whole thing moving, so I wasn't comfortable having that support in the upstairs. So I spoke to the architect and we've got a new steel spec to go across there. So the plan is now when that steel comes, I'll be building the wall out of timber instead because it's a lot quicker and easier. So that'll be the next thing. We're just waiting on the steel to arrive. You can see there, that's all the wood, that's all the 8x2s for the floor joists, and then the 6x2s are under that green sheet. So the next phase is to start building the floor basically, so we've got a bit of a platform to be able to stand on, so we can then start to get the wall plates down that you've already seen in another video, and then start to build the timber walls. We've jumped back in time here a little bit to before the steels are on. This is the foundation for the front wall being poured. So the concrete lorry arrived. It was raining hard the entire time we was pouring the concrete, which made a right mess of the place. My colleague and buddy Aaron come along for the day to give us a hand doing some manual labour. So he's going to tamp the concrete down for me and let me know the levels while I'm operating the lorry. The delivery driver got on top and was doing something to the mix, so I got to use the levers and pour my own concrete, which is quite cool. So that's me in the background there in my high-vis jacket. But absolutely hammered it down for the whole time. Couldn't have picked a worse morning really to lay concrete. As you can see there, Aaron's just tamping out the air a little bit, and then we've got to get it somewhere near level. It's not too critical because we can make it up in the mortar, and obviously, although we didn't know it at this point, we was going to have a steel up there anyway, so it'd only be supporting a timber frame, so it wasn't too critical at all. So we've now had a little time jump to mid-June, to the month when it's really nice and dry and hot, hence why I've got some mean tan lines there that you can see. You can also get a little bit of a sneaky glimpse of some of the timber walls that I've already built. It was a bit of a pain not having this front steel because obviously I couldn't build the front floor, so I built the middle and I built the rear, and then I've been able to build the side walls and the rear wall but not the front wall. So it's a bit of arse around face really building it. It would have been nice to be able to just gone straight across the front, so my levels are all spot on. Unfortunately I've had to do it from a spirit level and work my way around the bungalow, so it was about 20mm out from left to right by the time I'd finished. But the building inspector and some of the other people I've spoken to don't really think you'll notice it, so I'm not too worried. So you can see here we've got the steel being lifted on with a high ebb onto these spreader plates on the front. It was a lot easier and a lot more controlled with this high ebb than it was the crane trying to get the other steels on. So that just about finishes off the steel video. Now the steels are in, I can start to build the final piece of the floor and then get my front wall built ready for the trusses. Thanks for watching and tune in to the next video soon.